setting. As Gabrielle introduced me, I was the Chief Digital Officer at L'Oreal, and I'm also a professor at Fundação Dom Cabral. I'm a keynote speaker and researcher around digital transformation, leadership, and innovation. And I also had the Tinder, the dating app. Some of you might have heard about it. Let's not get into details, but I know some of you guys looked for me in the coffee break for tips, but let's keep it that for later on. That's not the subject now. But jokes aside, the truth is that when we look at leadership and, the new skill set for our digital world, we're talking about a very different environment, a very different business environment that is shaped by what I call the 5 new forces of the digital age. Let's go about them. When we compare the digital world with the pre-digital and analog world, actually 5 new forces are putting pressure on our engine. The first one is its interconnectivity and network effects. When we look at the digital world and look at the term that defines the internet, World Wide Web, it defines a web where the business at Shell is impacted by infinite variables, many more than in a pre-digital world, because it is deeply interconnected with new consumer behavior there, like, downstream that expects transparency, sustainability. They're the users of iFood and Rappi and Grubhub, and they expect instant gratification. They also have hyper-personalization through their favorite e-commerce. They have transparency and sustainability from their preferred coffee brand. They start shaping their expectations about Shell based on those experiences and not based on what we have done in the past or based on what our competitors do. So this means the variables that impact Shell's business are not only related to the oil and gas business. Second big characteristic is everything happens real time. There is no time for procrastination, of course. There is no time for hyper planning. It's a time to go about execution and get this immediate feedback that you get from executing your projects, your innovations. And therefore, this means that agility, of course, is one of the key characteristics that we need nowadays. Third characteristic of a digital world is big data. Everything is measurable. Everything has to be measured, and we see that through also the new technologies that Sabine was talking about. Blockchain can help us track everything. And so in a world of big data, the challenge is how do we make better decisions based on this data? Because data will be a commodity. Now we're struggling to get the data. But very soon, the challenge will be how we make best decisions based on all this data. And we have to get ready for that. The fourth characteristic is the exponentiality of the rate of change. Let's look at the energy sector. Who would say that the energy sector hasn't changed more over the last 5 years than the 30 previous years? And we all can agree that it will change over the next 2-3 years more than it has ever changed. And this is a reflection of the exponentiality of innovation, of the laws of digital. Because when we look at Moore's law, for example, that is behind the rise of semiconductors and explains that they actually double in capacity and power every 2 years on average, this is an exponential law. It's not a linear law to which we were used to, where when something changes in a linear manner, basically everything is more predictable, everything goes slower. When something is exponential, think about it. There's 2 characteristics to it. First of all, the rate of change is faster and faster, which means that we have to update our knowledge, expectations, beliefs faster and faster than we're used to. And the second thing is that at the beginning of an exponential change, it seems that nothing is really changing until it gets to a point of flexion where if you're not ready, if you're not leading the way, then it will be too late because someone else will take advantage of that. And the fifth and last characteristic of a digital world is AI, artificial intelligence, this new technology that threatens to substitute some of our knowledge, skills, and cognitive skills. Because if we think that we're better leaders or professionals just because we have more knowledge, because we are more intelligent, smarter, our IQ is higher, we'll have a problem because AI is much better than us in all of this. And so the truth is that it puts a lot of pressure on us as leaders to change the way that we think about business and change the way we think about our own skill set.